Most men only realize these risks after she's already in his bedroom and his bank account. By then, the damage is done, emotionally, financially, and psychologically. But you're about to get the full picture before you make a decision that could derail your entire life. Gentlemen, pay very close attention to what I'm about to reveal, because a newly divorced woman might seem like a great package at first glance. She looks ready for love, appears free from baggage, seems sweet and appreciative of male attention after years of marital conflict. She might even seem grateful just to be noticed by a quality man like you. But looks can be deceiving, appearances lie, and what glitters on the surface often hides a minefield beneath. Some of these women are not starting a new life. They are running from a man they promised forever to, or they're bitter and resentful from being left by one. The distinction matters enormously. Now they expect you to be the upgrade, the solution, the man who finally gets it right where their ex-husband failed. And here's what many good men ignore at their own peril. If she didn't want to or couldn't keep the last man she chose, the man she stood before God and family and promised her life to, she might not have learned how to love without testing, blaming, or fleeing when things get difficult. She may genuinely want a fresh start, but if she brings the same toxic behaviors, the same unresolved wounds, the same patterns that ruined her marriage, and expects you to be the one who magically fixes it all with your patience, your certainty, your resources, she's essentially keeping the escape hatch wide open while you're pouring your heart into building something real. Men walk into these situations blind and hopeful, full of good intentions and masculine desire to protect and provide. But they often walk out months or years later confused, emotionally devastated, and financially gutted. Not today. Not you. Today you will see the game before you even start to play it. Today you gain the awareness that most men only wish they had before they signed up for emotional chaos. Welcome to Fiction to Fact, where we protect men from making decisions they'll regret for years to come. Understanding the landscape. Not all divorced women are the same now. Before we dive deep into the risks, let me be crystal clear. Not every divorced woman is a walking disaster waiting to destroy your peace. Some women leave genuinely abusive situations where they feared for their safety or their children's well-being. Others leave to protect their kids from a toxic environment. Some divorces happen because the man truly did quit on her and their family. He checked out, gave up, stopped trying entirely. Or maybe both parties maturely realized they were no longer compatible, or perhaps never were right for each other in the first place, and they separated with grace and mutual respect. These scenarios exist, and these women can be incredible partners who bring wisdom, maturity, and genuine appreciation to a new relationship. But others are emotional time bombs. They're unhealed, reactive, still carrying the war wounds from their previous battle, and they can drag the next good man down simply for the crime of trying to love them honestly. This video isn't about every divorced woman. It's about recognizing the ones who are not ready for love, no matter how convincingly they swear they are. If you're dating one now, what's coming up might explain everything you've been feeling but couldn't quite articulate. So let's get into the real risks of dating a newly divorced woman. Risk number 1, she left him thinking she deserved better. Now you are the test. If she ended her marriage voluntarily, you must ask yourself a critical question. Did she leave a genuinely bad situation, or did she leave a boring one? There's a massive, life-altering difference between these two scenarios. Some divorces happen because the husband was or became a complete wreck. Maybe he gave up on himself, stopped growing, refused to lead, checked out emotionally for way too long. That reality sucks, but it absolutely does happen. Key point here, the work doesn't end when you get the girl. Relationship effort never ends unless you want the relationship to end. Men who think they can coast after commitment are setting themselves up for disaster. But here's where it gets dangerous. Many divorces today happen not because of abuse or abandonment, but because she felt unhappy or unfulfilled. She got tired of making an effort, tired of choosing commitment when feelings faded. So she left to upgrade, believing she deserved better, more exciting, more effortless love. In her mind, you are supposed to be that upgrade, which means if you show one single ounce of normal human imperfection, if you have a bad day, if you're tired after work, if you want time with your friends, if you don't read her mind perfectly, she'll start fantasizing about the next upgrade. Let's look at a positive scenario. She genuinely learned from the pain of divorce. She took time to reflect and realized she contributed to the problems in her marriage. She's been humbled by the experience. Now she wants to build something real and sustainable. She doesn't compare you to her ex. She doesn't demand perfection. She respects that love requires consistent maintenance from her as well, not just from you. Now the negative scenario. She feels the world owes her a fairy tale romance because marriage felt like work. She believes the grass is always greener somewhere else with someone else. She judges your every effort with zero reflection on her own contributions. The moment real life kicks in, bills, stress, routine, normal relationship challenges, she starts questioning you, testing you, emotionally withdrawing, fantasizing about the freedom she thinks she lost by committing to you. You'll feel like you're never enough because in her mind, she still believes she deserves more than you. Real-world example, you take her out for a nice dinner. You planned it, made reservations, paid for it, showed up present and engaged. But instead of gratitude, she starts complaining. Not about the food, not about the service, but about how her ex never did romantic things like this for her. You expected appreciation. Instead, you get a reminder that you're competing with the ghost of a man she threw away. The man she divorced is now being used as a measuring stick that you must constantly beat. You're not dating a woman seeking genuine love and partnership. You are trying out for a job where the last guy got fired for not being magical enough. Just the tip. If she walked out on a forever promise because she thought she deserved better, she may walk out on you the moment the butterflies settle and reality shows up. Have you ever dated a divorced woman who still acted like she deserved a Hollywood love story while you were out there actually doing the real work of building a relationship? Share your experience in the comments. The stories men share can save other men from walking into the same traps. But that's just the beginning. What comes next is where many men unknowingly hand over their power and their peace, and the game starts running against them before they even realize they're playing. Risk number 2, you become the rebound or emotional crutch while she's still healing. Sometimes the newly divorced woman is the one who got hurt by the divorce. She didn't want it. She's devastated, blindsided, emotionally shattered. And instead of processing that pain properly, she jumps straight into a new relationship before she's healed from the last one. These women are lonely, angry, scared, confused. And instead of going to a therapist or taking time to genuinely deal with their pain, they go find a man. That man might be you. You become the rebound, the emotional crutch, the walking therapy session, instead of a romantic partner. Positive scenario, she took real, substantial time to heal before dating again. She went to therapy, did self-reflection, processed her grief. She's honest about what she went through, and she accepts responsibility for her part in the divorce. She's fully capable of being alone, but she chooses you because she genuinely wants connection with you, not distraction from her pain. Negative scenario, you become her emotional shock absorber. Every mood swing hits you directly. Every painful memory gets unpacked on your chest at 2 a.m. Every bad day turns into a long story about how her ex ruined her life and how she's terrified you'll do the same thing. It looks like intimacy. It feels like bonding. But what's really happening is you're being used as emotional medication, a human antidepressant. Example, you just started seeing each other. Within 2 or 3 weeks, she's crying in your arms about court dates, lawyers, betrayal, lonely nights spent wondering what went wrong. You want to support her. You want to be a good man. But deep down, you know this level of emotional intensity is way too much for the stage you're actually at. You didn't agree to be her counselor. She assigned you that role without asking. Key point, if you feel more like a recovery program than a potential lover, you are not in a relationship. You're functioning as emotional rehab without a paycheck or any appreciation. And just when you think you understand the emotional landscape, the next risk reveals itself. And it's one of the most common and frustrating patterns men face. Risk number 3, she's still emotionally entangled with her ex. Just because the legal relationship ended doesn't mean the emotional attachment did. Some women will swear up and down they're over him. They'll say they don't care anymore. They'll roll their eyes dramatically at the mention of his name. But watch their behavior, not their words. If she can't stop talking about him, if she stalks his social media obsessively, if every story about her past somehow circles back to him, she's still emotionally tangled. She's not free. And if she's not free, you're not building something new. You're competing with something old. Positive scenario. She mentions the past only when absolutely necessary and keeps it brief and factual. She doesn't sink into tears or fire up with rage every time his name comes up. Her emotional focus is on you and what you're building together in the present and future. Negative scenario. He lives rent-free in her head, and you pay the emotional cost daily. Her mood shifts instantly whenever he texts. Her anger spikes when he's mentioned. She compares your reactions, your decisions, your words to his. She's trying to prove to herself that she chose better this time by constantly measuring you against the man she's supposedly done with. Example, you're having a genuinely good day together. Everything is flowing. Out of nowhere, she brings up a fight she used to have with her ex. She tells the entire story like it happened last week. Every detail, every word he said, every feeling she felt. You sit there watching the woman across from you emotionally time travel back to a relationship you didn't break up, but now have to deal with the consequences of. Key point: if her ex still has the power to ruin your present moment, then you are not a fresh start to her. You are an emotional placeholder while she processes her unfinished business with him, but the emotional complications are only part of the picture. What comes next is where the practical realities of her past life start controlling your present one. Risk number 4: you inherit heavy baggage that isn't yours. When you date a newly divorced woman, you might not just be dating her. You're potentially stepping into kids with complex emotional needs, custody schedules that change weekly, lawyers who need constant communication, court dates that disrupt plans, financial fallout from the divorce, and extended family drama that predates you by years. That's not always a deal breaker. Some men are fully capable of and willing to handle these realities, but it is always a serious responsibility that will affect every aspect of your life. Positive scenario: she's completely upfront about the reality from day one. She's organized and handles her business. She doesn't drag you into every single battle or drama. She protects your time and energy. If she has kids, she eases you into meeting them slowly and respectfully, never forcing a relationship or expecting you to instantly become their father figure. Negative scenario: you walk straight into chaos. There are calls from lawyers interrupting your dates. There's constant resentment about child support and alimony. There's ongoing conflict with the ex that spills into your time together. Sudden schedule changes happen without warning, and you're expected to understand every single time because kids come first, which is true, but becomes a convenient excuse for poor planning. Your entire life becomes shaped by a past you never had a say in creating. Example: you've been planning a weekend away for weeks. You're packed, excited, ready to finally have uninterrupted time together. She cancels last minute because a court hearing got moved, or her ex backed out of taking the kids, or some new fight exploded that requires her immediate attention. You swallow your frustration and tell yourself you're being selfish for wanting a normal, healthy relationship with appropriate boundaries. But here's the truth: you didn't sign up for this level of constant drama. You stepped into it because you didn't see the whole picture up front, or because you ignored the red flags hoping things would improve. Key point: if her previous life constantly hijacks your current one, you're not just dating her. You're volunteering for a job you didn't know you applied for, with responsibilities you never agreed to take on. And if you think that's the worst of it, wait until you experience what happens when her past trauma starts treating you like a criminal. Risk number 5: her mistrust turns you into the suspect. Divorce can absolutely shatter a person's trust, in others, in themselves, in the entire concept of commitment. But if she hasn't rebuilt that trust internally before entering a relationship with you, you will pay for that damage externally every single day. You can be the most loyal, honest, transparent man on the planet and still feel like you're under constant investigation. Positive scenario: she openly admits she has fears and trust issues from her past, but she consciously chooses to trust you based on your consistent actions. She doesn't snoop through your phone. She doesn't interrogate you about where you've been. She lets trust grow again naturally, even if it's slowly. Negative scenario: your phone buzzes and she gets visibly tense. You step outside to take a call and her mind immediately goes to cheating. You want time with your friends and she interprets it as abandonment. You start editing your perfectly normal behavior, not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you're exhausted from being questioned. Example: you tell her you're focused on an important work project and will be busy and less available for a few days. When you resurface, she's cold and distant. You ask what's wrong, and she drops this bomb: "I just assumed you'd disappear like everyone else has." You were working and being responsible. She was reliving her past trauma and punishing you for it. Key point: if you're constantly proving you're not guilty of crimes you didn't commit, you're not in love. You're in emotional court, defending yourself against accusations based on another man's actions. Critical distinction: it's completely reasonable to expect some insecurity if she was betrayed in her marriage. That's natural human psychology. But make sure she's actively moving toward trusting you, especially if you've done nothing to lose her trust. You're looking for progress, not perfection. And just when you think you've navigated all these challenges, there's one more pattern that catches good men completely off guard. Bonus risk number 6: her standards skyrocket and you're expected to be perfect. After a painful divorce, some women make a declaration: "I'm never settling again. I know my worth now." Good in theory, dangerous in practice, especially when it means you're held to standards she doesn't even live by herself. Positive scenario: she has higher standards, but they start with herself. She brings genuine effort, accountability, and emotional maturity. She expects quality, but she also delivers it. There's reciprocity and fairness. Negative scenario: Every tiny mistake you make becomes proof that you're just like the others. She wants you emotionally present, financially stable, romantic, patient, strong, and soft, all at once, all the time, without ever questioning what she brings in return. Her self-improvement stopped at making demands. Example, you forget something small, maybe an errand, a text back, or the anniversary of something painful from her past. Instead of a normal conversation, you get a full lecture about all the men who disappointed her and how she refuses to tolerate bare minimum effort ever again. You realize you're being punished for a promise she made to herself, and you're being used as the example to prove she's changed. Key point, you are not the redemption arc for her past. You're not a character in her healing journey. You're a man with your own value, your own needs, your own life. If she can't see that, she's not ready for a real relationship. She's ready for a fantasy that no real human can fulfill. If any of these risks are hitting a little too close to home right now, you are not alone. Thousands of men have walked this exact path and learned these lessons the hard way. So are all divorced women dangerous to date? Absolutely not. Some divorced women have done the deep internal work. They've gone to therapy, taken accountability, healed their wounds, and emerged more loyal, more grounded, and more emotionally aware because of what they've been through. These women can be incredible partners precisely because they've learned hard lessons about commitment, communication, and what truly matters in a relationship. But here's the part many lonely, well-intentioned men skip. Just because she's single doesn't mean she's ready. Just because she wants a good man doesn't mean she knows how to treat one. Your job isn't to save her from the life she helped create. Your job isn't to be her therapist, her punching bag, or her redemption project. Your job is to protect your future by choosing someone whose actual behavior matches the relationship you want. Pay attention to these risks. Watch the patterns. Listen to your gut when it's telling you something is wrong. The right woman won't demand that you sacrifice your sanity, your peace, or your resources to prove you're a good man. She'll meet you with respect, effort, and reciprocity. You'll feel like a man building a life, not a man constantly patching up a sinking ship while she pokes new holes in it. Because you, sir, are the prize. Never forget that. Your time, your resources, your emotional energy, your commitment, these are valuable. Don't give them away to someone who hasn't earned them or isn't ready to honor them. So if this video opened your eyes or confirmed something you've been feeling, please give it a like and share it with another man who needs to hear this message. Your story in the comments could be the one that saves someone else from walking straight into a disaster with his eyes closed. Now, believe it or not, there are still more traps men fall into with newly divorced women, patterns that can feel even more sinister and manipulative. But I didn't want to make this video too long or overwhelming. So if you want me to do a follow-up video diving deeper into those additional risks, let me know in the comments below. Tell me what specific situations you want me to address. Big hug to all of you, especially if you've been through the emotional ringer with any woman, divorced or not. I see you. Your pain is valid. Your caution is wisdom. Lots of love. God bless. And remember, protect your peace, protect your future, and never apologize for having standards.